Idea that last night changed several UFC divisions at once. Tease, a fighter leaving the arena on 2 broken feet. A title contender quietly pushed back almost a year. Champions calling out contenders and dismissing others. End the intro by hinting that some matchups might never happen now. Transition. And it all started with a fight that went further than anyone realized. The night didn't end when the cage door opened. For Diego Lopez, it barely even ended when the crowd stopped cheering. Hours after the fight, an image began circulating online. Diego in a hospital bed, surrounded by his team, the reality finally catching up to what adrenaline had been holding together. Both of his feet were broken, not sore, not damaged, broken. And yet, none of that was visible during the fight itself. He stood his ground, moved forward, threw with intent, and gave no indication that every step was doing real damage. His team's message made the moment even heavier. Some nights end in celebration, some nights end in the emergency room. But every morning, they said, was worth being thankful for. It reframed the entire performance. What fans saw as toughness now looked more like sacrifice. It raised an uncomfortable truth about the sport, how far fighters are willing to push past the body's limits just to stay present in the moment. Diego didn't just fight his opponent that night. He fought pain, instinct, and the knowledge that stopping might mean losing everything he worked for. And that realization set the tone for everything else that followed. While Diego's damage became visible almost immediately, another situation had been quietly unraveling behind the scenes. Footage surfaced of Shavkat Rakhmonov moving carefully, leaning on crutches, his knee heavily supported by a brace. Fans had already been wondering why one of the most dangerous contenders in the division had disappeared after his dominant win over Ian Gary back in December. The answer was worse than expected. The knee hadn't healed, it had failed again. Surgery became unavoidable, and with it came the reality that his return wouldn't be measured in weeks or months, but close to a full year. In his own words, Shavkat admitted that the fighter's path isn't built on comfort. Every dream demands payment, and sometimes that payment comes directly from your health. His statement wasn't dramatic, but it was heavy, acknowledging setbacks without surrendering belief, promising that the belt still belongs in Kazakhstan, even if the road there just became longer and lonelier. The division won't wait for him. Opportunities will pass, new contenders will rise, and that's what made this injury so significant. It didn't just delay his comeback, it quietly reshaped the future of the entire weight class.
As injuries stalled some careers, others tried to force movement with words. Alexander Volkanovski was asked about Arman Tsarukyan calling him out, and his response was measured, almost dismissive in its calm. He didn't deny Arman's ability, he didn't mock the idea outright, but he questioned whether it was real, whether the weight cut made sense, whether the call-out was serious or just noise thrown into the conversation for attention. Volkanovski made it clear where his focus was. 2 contenders were already in front of him, real threats, real obligations. Until someone made it official, he wasn't wasting energy on hypotheticals. That response did more than shut down speculation. It exposed the gap between calling someone out and actually being next. In a division where timing matters more than talent, hesitation can be fatal. And while Arman's name echoed through interviews and social media, Volkanovski's indifference suggested something else entirely, that not all callouts carry the same weight, and not every challenge earns an immediate response. Amid the celebration of dominance, Ariel Helwani raised a question few were willing to say out loud. Volkanovski delivered another masterclass, another reminder of why his name belongs among the greatest ever. But did this fight need to happen at all? Ariel wondered what contenders waiting their turn must have been thinking as they watched. The point had already been proven months earlier. This didn't feel like discovery. It felt like repetition. And while greatness was on display, opportunity quietly slipped away from others. His commentary didn't take anything away from Volkanovski. Instead, it challenged the system around him. Matchmaking that rewards familiarity over necessity. Fights that happen because they can, not because they must. It planted doubt in an otherwise triumphant night. Because when even a flawless performance raises questions, it forces fans to look beyond the cage and ask who truly benefits from these decisions. Arman's name didn't fade after that. If anything, it followed him. After securing a TKO win, Benoit Saint-Denis threw his name into the conversation, calling Arman out and positioning himself as a contender willing to take that risk. But when the moment came to clarify his intentions, the message shifted. The belt came first. The BMF title mattered more. His true focus was on winners, champions, and legacy-defining fights. Arman suddenly sounded more like a backup plan than a target. That hesitation spoke volumes. Everyone wants to climb. Few want to gamble their position. Saint-Denis didn't reject the fight, but he didn't chase it either. And in a division stacked with ambition, that kind of uncertainty can stall momentum. It painted Arman into a strange corner, dangerous enough to respect, but risky enough to avoid unless absolutely necessary. The call-out created buzz, but the follow-up revealed the reality. When the stakes rise, even the boldest voices start choosing their words carefully. Away from rankings and titles, the human side of the sport surfaced. Nick Diaz reflected on the chaos that followed his brother's wars with Conor McGregor. Fame came fast, too fast. Privacy disappeared. Moving freely became impossible. Life changed overnight. Then came Joe Pyfer, voicing frustration toward Bo Nickel. Not about records or belts, but attitude, respect, perceived entitlement. Pyfer didn't hide his feelings. He wanted the fight, wanted the chance to settle it directly. He felt dismissed, talked about, then greeted like nothing happened. That contradiction stuck with him. It wasn't about hype, it was about pride. In a sport where ego fuels competition, those moments linger longer than highlights. These weren't scripted rivalries. They were raw, personal, and unresolved, the kind that don't fade quietly. Then came the revelation that reframed an entire performance. Volkanovski revealed that Mauricio Ruffi had been battling a severe flu all week. High fevers, limited movement, doubt about whether he could even make it through warm-ups. Yet he showed up, pushed through, performed anyway. This wasn't preparation, it was survival. The fight suddenly looked different. Every exchange carried more weight. Every moment of movement became a testament to willpower rather than strategy. Volkanovski's respect was clear. Just turning up under those conditions earned it. It exposed a layer of the sport fans rarely see. The battles fought before fight night ever arrives. And once you know that truth, you can't unsee it. American Cormier didn't hesitate. In his view, the debate was over. Volkanovski had done enough. 8 title fight wins, victories over Holloway and Aldo, names that define generations. This wasn't about popularity, it was about resume, longevity, willingness to fight anyone placed in front of him. Volkanovski didn't chase easy paths, he accepted whoever was next, and that consistency separated him. The argument wasn't meant to erase past legends, it was meant to acknowledge evolution. Greatness doesn't replace greatness, it builds on it. And in that moment, the scale tipped. Whether fans agreed or not, the statement forced the conversation forward. Just when the night seemed settled, an old detail resurfaced. An email connected to an attempt to purchase one of John Jones's early fights circulated again. No accusations, no conclusions, just the reminder that history never fully disappears. Jones's response was minimal, a repost and an emoji. No explanation, no denial, and that silence did what words often can't. It let speculation breathe.
In a career already layered with controversy, even small reminders carry weight. Sometimes it's not what's said that lingers, it's what's left unsaid.